Hey, we're back here at Commvault GO 2017. I'm Doug Atkinson from Solutions Review. It is a customer conference and we have a customer, a new customer actually of Commvault's, which will be a good conversation to have. It's Michele Buschman from American Pacific Mortgage. You have about 2,200 employees there, and obviously lots of data and challenges that go along with that. And as I mentioned, you are a recent customer. So how did you come about picking Commvault, and I'm really curious about the whole selection process, actually.
Sure, absolutely. So we held a formal RFP process where we worked on, my engineering team put together the requirements of what we were looking for and sent that out to probably about 6 or so different vendors. They evaluated the RFP responses, created some scorecards, some cost analysis around it, and then made a couple recommendations for deep dive for 2 vendors.
Is that right? So
yes,
it was kind of a bake-off?
Yes, exactly. And so then we would, brought in the sales teams and the sales engineers from those different organizations to really deep dive into what our requirements are, what the product capabilities were, and then my engineering team obviously came up with their final determination where Commvault basically met everything that we needed. One of the things that was important to me as well is that we could transfer that software and licensing into the cloud as soon as we're fully there.
Interesting.
So that the investment that we're making isn't going to go away.
Right.
So from there, that place forward, we went ahead. We did some vendor reference calls.
Is that how you did it? So how long a process was that?
Wow, it probably close to a year.
Is that right?
Yeah, and the reason being is we knew our existing system, first of all, we outgrew it, so we had to come up with a hybrid solution to hold us over until our contract came due. And also, we wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to vet out an appropriate solution. We wanted to look at an enterprise level solution. Our business had grown.
Yes.
So that we could scale rather than rip and replace equipment and infrastructure.
So how quickly were you growing? I mean, just to give a sense of, kind of the path that people take for that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I joined American Pacific Mortgage in January of 2014.
Yep.
And they had projections at that point. I walked into an organization that needed a lot of infrastructure upgrades.
Yep.
The first year that I was there, we grew 75% market share and almost doubled the number of employees we had.
All right.
That was not the statistic that was given to us, which is a good problem.
I was going to say, that's better than
right?
the other way, right?
Yeah, good problem to have, but we found ourselves, because we were more of a small to mid-sized company at the time, that the infrastructure solutions that we chose, we outgrew very fast. So this time around, I wanted to make sure we were able to find an enterprise level solution that did everything that we needed it to do and had a vision of where the future was going as well, which was really important.
Thinking single pane of glass at this point, that kind of...
As much as we can bring things together, it reduces the amount of time investment for the team. And in my environment, I have a small technical team.
Yeah, right.
So for me, where I can leverage bringing systems together to minimize how much time they're spending is critical, so they can be focused on more business impactful projects.
Right.
As well as obviously one of the big things that we've been doing too is anything that's kind of started to become more of a commodity, such as like eValve, putting that out into the cloud, and phone systems, and
you
trying
mentioned
to
the cloud.
do that. Yeah.
So how do you see the cloud? How do you see leveraging the cloud as you go? And you don't have to be specific. I know you're just implementing Commvault now, but you clearly thought about it. How do you see it kind of coming into play? Because it's certainly a conversation that's happening a lot out there right now, and I'm not sure everybody has maybe as clear a vision as you might.
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons that I had that direction. For one, the cost associated with maintenance of systems, equipment, and software, and getting the expertise to do that, it gets to be where it's just too much of an exorbitant of a cost.
Right. Just the hardware.
Just everything, right? And then the staffing to manage it, the demand from the business 24/7 on.
Yeah. Power.
Yeah, exactly.
Cooling.
So I would say about 80% of our business critical systems are already either SaaS hosted or hosted in like a private cloud. So we've made that shift.
Yeah.
I'm trying to slowly piece the rest out of the data center as much as possible, and we're going through a cost analysis around that to see if that's the right decision to do with what's left.
So you have the advantage really of kind of almost starting fresh completely and really incorporating the cloud from the jump, as opposed to a lot of these folks out here who are trying to deal with legacy. I mean, we talked to somebody yesterday about tape that they had to sort out, and Commvault made sense there. But
Right.
sometimes I think it's a little more complicated environment, which is got to be good. So you're going to implement. It took you a year to find a solution. You're going to implement that solution. That'll
Yep.
take probably another year, maybe.
Hopefully not.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So what do you think next? I mean, kind of how are you thinking about it? We were just talking to another customer just before you, and they were talking about analytics. You know, as kind of the next big package they were thinking about.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one because for about the last, I would say, 2 years, we've built a new enterprise data warehouse at our location. Been going through identifying data, trying to put governance rules around it, securing it, trying to get the organization to understand where they should be putting data versus where they should not be putting data.
Right.
That's one of the challenges, obviously, around the cloud as well, is making sure we have a good security strategy,
Yep.
as well as obviously buy-in from compliance and legal to
Yeah.
make sure we're doing what we need to do as an independent mortgage bank.
Right. You
Because we
certainly
do have some
compliance,
regulations. Yeah. But from the analytics side, it's been kind of a journey for our organization as well. Again, walking in the door about 3.5 years ago, the only people using data were really our capital markets team, which makes obvious sense,
Yep.
right? They're data driven.
Yep.
So, we've been trying to mature the organization to start using data to make decisions and making it available, which is one of the big underlying reasons we built the data warehouse. We recently rolled out a cloud-based BI tool for dashboarding,
that users can leverage directly.
Yes, so all of our end users have access to it, so they can see, the work that is important to them and where they're at in a workflow, like on the loan manufacturing process,
Right,
So an
exactly.
underwriter has an underwriting dashboard to know, I've got this many loans that need to be underwritten in this time period, this many with this many conditions. Then you have, our branches, where it's important to them to understand where they are financially on a month-to-month basis. So we have financial dashboards, and so really the challenge is that most people don't understand how to use data, right? You'll go to the business and you can ask, and what do you need? They don't know what they need.
Somebody has to put a stake in the ground and say, here's what you're going to do, or at least what we're going to try to make available.
Right, and so one of the things that we found is that, providing standardized flat reporting, it's too much data, right?
Yeah,
It's
right.
you have to hunt and peck for what you're trying to do. So what we wanted to do was to be able to bring visualization to the data and push data to people that's actionable.
Well, and I think that's really where we cover a lot of sectors, backup and disaster, data management, but also we have a lot of analytics coverage, and the advancements that are happening in analytics is incredible in terms of visualization and ease of use, self-service.
Yep. Yeah, and that was a huge one for us too, of being able to actually provide data sets that people can build their own dashboards off of to minimize the amount of impact to my team on the reporting side. Because as we all know, everybody likes to see data differently.
Well, it sounds like you're traveling down the path. Everybody is talking about their journey around here. There's the journey, the path. It sounds like you're well on your way down your path, and that's great. Well done, and thank you very much for some time to talk about it a little bit. I hope you have been enjoying the show and get a chance to go to all the parties tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, very good. Thanks very much, Michele.
Thank you.